Do you know what animal can sleep for 3 years without eating? Neither did I until I started hosting 5 daily trivia questions. Hi, I'm Mark Ellison. Every weekday, I'll challenge you with 5 brain-bending questions spanning history, pop culture, science, and more. Perfect for your morning commute or lunch break. 5 daily trivia questions. And by the way, it's the snail that can sleep for 3 years. 5 daily trivia questions wherever you get your shows.
Calaroga Shark Media.
Pope Leo XIV has a standing invitation to return to watch the White Sox at Rate Field whenever he wishes. Advance notice isn't necessary for the world-famous native of Dalton, Illinois. He has an open invitation to throw out a first pitch, said Brooks Boyer, the White Sox Executive Vice President, Chief Revenue and Marketing Officer. Heck, maybe we'll let him get an at-bat. This invitation was implicit before Monday's special pre-game ceremony, where a graphic installation was unveiled on the concourse wall near Section 140, honouring the Pope, who attended Game 1 of the 2005 White Sox World Series sweep of the Astros. The Pope attended that game with the late Ed Schmit, who passed away in 2020 but was a close friend of Robert Prevost, known as Father Bob to their family. This is White Smoke. All 5 of Ed's children were among the family members present Monday, including Nick, who remains the account holder for these significant tickets. Before proceeding with this honour, the White Sox needed one crucial piece of information. We asked one question: where did he sit? The answer was very clear. It was seat 2, Boyer said. That was his position as he sat beside the family patriarch. Acknowledging this section by having the Pope as part of our history, creating this installation so quickly, is very special for us. It only enriches our 125 years of history at the park. The White Sox internal design team created the mural as a graphic applied to the wall. 10 camera crews attended Monday, along with numerous reporters, broadcasting from the seats where the Pope, Ed Jr., Ed III, and Ed IV sat during that historic game 20 years ago. I remember 2 things from that game, said Ed Schmit IV, who was 5 years old at the time. I remember Jermaine Dye's home run and my dad getting phone calls right after saying we were on TV for the last out. I knew the video existed. When this happened, I looked back and thought, is that the Pope next to me? Sure enough, it was. It's awesome to share that with people. I don't want anyone thinking he's a Cubs fan because he's not. The Pope is a White Sox fan. We have proof. He was at Game 1 of the World Series. And everyone knows now. Schmidt's grandfather met Father Bob through their work together at St. Rita of Cassia High School on Chicago's South Side. Baseball fandom is generational, as Boyer emphasized Monday, with the Schmit family being part of the White Sox family since 1977. They understand what being a White Sox fan means, Boyer said. There's pleasure that comes with it, and there's been some pain. A family member added, a lot of pain, with a laugh. But another quickly countered, but a lot of fun. I never thought I'd see a North American Pope in my lifetime, let alone a White Sox fan from Chicago's South Side among us. He's real, Boyer said. Seeing him was magical. These people know him personally. It's amazing. When President Barack Obama was a White Sox fan, you thought it couldn't get more prestigious than that. These folks brought us the Pope. The Schmit family isn't surprised to see Father Bob from Chicago become Pope. Their father frequently predicted this honor. Around the time my dad was passing, Father Bob made sure to speak with him, said Heidi Skokal, Ed Schmidt's daughter, becoming emotional as she shared the story. He told Father Bob, I know you'll be the next Pope. I might not be here to see it, but I'll definitely be looking down. I'm sure he is today. Much of this focuses on the White Sox, Ed Schmit IV said, but it should be more about what kind of person the Pope is. Looking at his mission work, it's incredible. He's a great, kind-hearted man. The White Sox design team created the artwork by applying a graphic to the wall. According to the team, the installation celebrates the Pope's Chicago roots and baseball's unifying power on the world stage. Back home, Pope Leo received the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Australia, Mr. Anthony Albanese, in audience at the Vatican on Monday afternoon. Following the meeting, the Holy See press office released a statement indicating that Prime Minister Albanese also met with Archbishop Paul Richard Gallagher, who serves as the Holy See's Secretary for Relations with States and International Organisations. During the cordial discussions which took place in the Secretariat of State, the statement noted, warm appreciation was expressed for the good bilateral relations between the Holy See and Australia, as well as for the contribution of the Catholic Church in service of society, especially in the educational sphere. The Holy See press office announced that Leo made a surprise visit on Tuesday morning to the Dicastery for Bishops, where he had served as prefect since his January 2023 appointment until his May 8 election as Pope. During his visit, the statement noted, Pope Leo celebrated Mass in the Dicastery's chapel. The Holy Father arrived at the Dicastery's offices in Piazza Pio XII around 10 a.m. in the dark minivan that has already been seen during his visits outside the Vatican. Notably, the vehicle was spotted during Pope Leo's May 10th excursion south of Rome to pray at the shrine of Our Lady of Good Counsel in Genazzano. And exactly 1 week ago, at the Augustinianum, where he celebrated Mass and had lunch with his Augustinian brothers. This was the Pope's third surprise outing. The Holy Father was greeted by applause, and a small crowd gathered in the square, a few meters from the colonnade of St. Peter's, were chanting, Viva il Papa! Others had waited along Via dei Corridori, parallel to Via della Conciliazione, behind the building, to see the Pope's car emerge from the garage after about an hour and a half. The Dicastery for Bishops is responsible for all matters pertaining to the establishment and provision of particular churches, and to the exercise of the episcopal office in the Latin Church, without prejudice to the competence of the Dicastery for evangelization. President Trump suggested Monday after a call with Russia's Vladimir Putin that ceasefire negotiations between Moscow and Kiev should take place in the Vatican, hosted by Pope Leo. This would be a significant and potentially challenging first act of international diplomacy for the American-born Pope. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who met the Pope on Monday alongside Vice President J.D. Vance, stated on Saturday that the Vatican was a place that both sides would be comfortable going, though he downplayed the notion that the Pope would serve as a broker. Pope Leo XIV pledged last week to make every effort to help end the war in Ukraine and conflicts elsewhere around the world. The Vatican had previously offered to assist with facilitating talks under Pope Francis, but no peace discussions occurred for 3 years before Friday's talks in Istanbul, which concluded without any major breakthrough. Following Monday's call with Putin, Trump stated that Russia and Ukraine would immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire, but that he would not directly participate as the mediator, as he had previously suggested. The Vatican, as represented by the Pope, has stated it would be very interested in hosting the negotiations. Let the process begin.
There's always something brewing behind palace walls, whether it's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle making headlines from afar, or Prince William and Princess Catherine quietly preparing for the future throne. I'm Mark Francis, and on Palace Intrigue, we cover every twist, turn, whisper and wink. From royal drama to daily gossip, follow Palace Intrigue wherever you get your podcasts.